Role models are the most important thing in life. Like when you have somebody to look up to or to talk to, and you can be 100% of authentic of who you truly are, and you can talk to that person and you can just sit there and engage with them and get some of the understanding that you got, your role model gonna let you be who you are.
This is where it all begins, so say goodbye to all your fears, all your doubts. This is where they die. This is where we come to win, we come to fly. This is where we make our dreams come to life. Welcome to Innovation City.
Welcome to Innovation City, a podcast featuring the innovators, creators, and disruptors who are changing the way that business happens by breaking through the status quo of business as usual. My name is Tyler Kelley.
And I'm Leigh-Ann Buchanan.
And we're super excited today because we have a very special person here, Mr. Kenneth Gibson, otherwise known as ToJo Bigg Dawg.
That's what I am. How y'all doing today? Thanks for having me, first of all.
Well, we're excited to have you here. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what you do. And for the audience who may not be as familiar, you are the CEO of ToJo Entertainment.
Bigg Dawg Entertainment.
Bigg Dawg Entertainment.
B-I-G-G.
Scratch that.
W-G.
So you are the CEO of Bigg Dawg Entertainment.
Yes,
and as
ma'am.
we were talking about before we kicked off, you're also a spiritual being.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll get a little bit more into that part of what you do. So first question, you said you're a spiritual being. Why did you use that phrase to describe yourself?
Spiritual. It really doesn't have nothing against religion. I don't believe looking for God. I believe looking at God. So when I look in the mirror, I understand who I am and what I am. So like, and just all the spiritual things of, I hold personal conversations with myself because I know that's who I'm supposed to talk to because God runs through my body.
And so I love how you are talking about the level of introspection and awareness and connectivity. Tell us a little bit more about your background. How did you get to that place of having a greater sense of who you are, and what types of experiences in your life really inform that?
Experiences, that's what it was.
Exactly.
Life experiences.
Tell us your story.
Man, when I was born in North St. Louis in the Fairground Park area, I went to high school at Beaumont High School, left as a freshman, and went to Oakville Senior High School. That's where I graduated from. But around about 9 years old, I moved to the Cochran Projects from the neighborhood. And that was the first experience of just total, like seeing them buildings and just like, wow. And like, as I got older and older, cause like in my community, it's a such thing as everybody as young, see our uncles, aunties on the front running around. We were like, I can't wait to get grown, to go out there. But grown really is nothing but running off the porch and whatever the environment got, you look to the left and right and you get into it. But as I got older, I understand it was something called maturity. And maturity is accountability, responsibility, taking care of yourself, paying your bills, looking out for your family and everybody have the best interest for everybody around you. And like all those experiences came, I think my manhood training is when I went to prison, and I did 8 years, and I was wondering like, how's I'm gonna do this time? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, I've been to college before, I dropped out. So I went and got the dictionary and turned the pages on and went from A to Z, wrote the word, wrote the dictionary, wrote in the sentences. It actually helped me with my spelling. I taught myself how to type. I wrote 3 business plans while I was gone. And so I said, well, I'm going to take this experience as going to college and get my diploma. It's going to be from the School of Hard Knocks, and plus it's going to be an all-male school. Won't be no women around. But I graduated. I got my PhD in it.
So I love, and I want to unpack a little bit more about your experience and your story, but you talked about accountability and how even when you were in a place of confinement, you were able to create some business plans and think about where you wanted your life to go. Tell us, what were those business plans about? What are the ventures that you were thinking about starting while you were incarcerated?
Well, I really didn't even have an idea of it. Like I told you, it was like some after count. It's a 4 o'clock count in the federal prison. Everybody stand up. All the federal prisons around the world, you stand up at 4 o'clock, say your name and number before they'll know how many people is in the federal Bureau of Penitentiary. So after 4 o'clock count, we had some after 4 o'clock count adult classes. And I ran into a guy named Mr. Jerry Upton from Knoxville, Tennessee. He was a businessman. He fell down, maybe white-collar crime or something. He was a preacher and everything. Matter of fact, he married and baptized Reggie White, the football player from the Philadelphia Eagles. So Mr. Upton was just so brilliant and smart. And I used to go to this class and go to this class and go to this class, and I just followed and followed and followed. And I kept going and kept going. And like my office was at the library. You know, I didn't do nothing prison stuff. I never played cards, never played dominoes, never played basketball, and didn't joke and play with none of them. It was just a purpose that I had. You know, I didn't come to jail to make friends, even though I had some friends from the street that was there. But at the same time, Mr. Upton, like my first business plan, it was called Clean Tile Service. But I came home in 2008, it was a recession. So the Clean Tile Service was to go to barbershop, beauty shops, any place that sold towels. I was going to get their towels, clean them, and give them some more and keep it going and get paid service for it. But when I came home, like I said, it was a recession. So everybody was already, they was washing their own towels. The service wasn't in. I still had a business plan today. I'm going to give it to like one of my nieces and nephews when they really about for it, because it real work, you know, because people do it every day. And like the other one was, it was Bigg Dawg Entertainment, you know what I'm saying? And another one was a real estate venture that I'm going to branch out to a little later, you know. But that's how it came about, though.
So 3 great ideas. And I'm sure Tyler has some questions a little bit more about your entertainment company and how that came to be.
Yeah, so that's interesting you came up with that when you were in prison, but you had a background prior to that with entertainment as well, right?
Right. So 1991, 1992 is a place called the Smith Center on Lee and Dryden. They did concert promoting. It was a man named Steve Gerard and Mr. Smith, Pop Smith. Steve Gerard used to work for MCA. He had a long record with New Edition and back in the day. So they was doing concert promotion, local and stuff like that. So 92 summertime, some guys from Compton, California pulled up in the Winnebago. Turned out to be DJ Quick, Second to None, AMG, High C, few more guys. Greedy Greg, they manager, one of my best friends in the world today. They came to St. Louis, they did a show at the Broadway. They was here for like the weekend, did a show at the Broadway, had a battle royal and all kind of stuff, went to the restaurant on Lee and Newstead, and some guys from around the corner of the neighborhood, they was Crips, which is gangs, and Quick and them was Bloods. So they found out they was up there, they came, and I had to make a neighborhood call to one of their OGs and like, hey man, want y'all let us on out of here. Hey, so they better quit throwing up them blood signs and whoop, whoop, whoop. So we let her, they got them out of there. So they left her, went to Davenport, Iowa. The Winnebago broke down. This was the first time they was out of Compton. They didn't know nobody between Compton and Davenport, Iowa, but us. They called us, we went and got them. And I've been DJ Quick friend since that day. We've been cool. So he got a song on one of his albums called Just Like Compton. In St. Louis, Just Like Compton. I'm in the song. My name's mentioned in the song, and I'm in the video.
Yeah, back when that song came out, that was a big song here in St. Louis.
Yeah. It was number one. It was a real big song. So I seen them one time in 2017 after I had got shot in 2015. And it was my first time really coming back out in public. So he was like, man, you going to the show with me? It was at the Marquise. I'm like, nah, I ain't going to the show. He like, man, you got to go to the show with me, man. Come on, man. You know I ain't going to feel right if you ain't there. I'm like, man, I ain't really been out, man. You know I had that problem. And he was like, when I first went in, he was like, what's up with you? I'm like, man, I don't know, man. He like, man, ain't no reason for you to be down. He said, listen, man, I made a song, dog, put your name in it. Your name get mentioned every day somewhere in this world. He said, man, you a star just like I am. And, you know.
And you were in the video, too.
Yeah, in the video, yeah. Walking past the Smith Center. I'm in the video, yeah.
So you have this very organic experience in working with people in the entertainment industry. Yeah. Talk to us about how the transition from kind of connecting with them on a personal level, how that transitioned to the company that you have now, and what is it that your company focuses on?
Well, like from running with them, it just allowed me to be in different places, and I met so many entertainers and kicked it with them and just seen how they move around and stuff like that. And then naturally draw it to me, like, because rap music is my music of my generation, you know, just like rock and roll might be his music or R&B, my mother and them music, but hip hop was my music. That was the music. My mom, boy, cut that stuff down. I don't want to hear this stuff. But it was my music, you know what I'm saying? So I was just naturally attracted to it. So Like, you know, and I seen other people like, you know, do shows like Steve and Pops, and, you know, it was just a natural progression for me, you know, to fall off into the entertainment field and, you know, and try to become a part of it. But it's not no easy business to jump off into, you know, and I can't never say that I'm no top promoter, you know what I'm saying? It's you know, it's way people just doing more, but I found the niche, how to move around and find my way, you know what I'm saying?
I'm curious, what is one thing that you've learned in your many years of experience in the entertainment business that you wish you had known when you started?
Well, the question is interesting. One thing that I did not learn that I wish I would have learned. No, I understand your question. I'm gonna get to it.
Okay.
But like in '92, I was going to California, and I went to this studio called Step Sellers. Quick was there, but Dr. Dre was there, and they was on the boards. I'm like, damn, like, you know, and I wish today that I would have really learned, like, because it was free. I was there. I could have learned that type of stuff and could have went off into producing and stuff like that, you know, and I just didn't take in, like, the moment of now, the power of now, you know what I'm saying? And then something that, like, one thing that I do understand about it is entertainment. I'm from the streets. I'm real. It's an illusion. It's only a handful of them guys that's who they really are as you see them as. And a lot of them is entertainment, but you got to understand that's what it is. It's an art form. It's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? They don't walk around to be that all the time, even though I'm a fan first, so I would love for them to be like that. So, you know, I do understand that. That's the part. To answer your question, it's only entertainment, so don't take it personal.
That's sage advice, I would say.
Yeah. Like Kanye West, I always tell people, he a very great guy, but I couldn't be with him every day because he'll run me the wrong way. Some kind of way, some kind of form, you know. But that's just what it is.
So talk to me about how St. Louis has changed over the years. Because that clip, you know, from the video was a completely different St. Louis than that is today.
Yeah, because that place, the building exists, but the place don't. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The Smith Center. It was actual place that 25 to 30 to 50 or maybe 100 people a day used to just hang out and be at. St. Louis and changed over. Because when I was growing up, it was just, you know, it was sports. Then games came. Mm. Then the game changed. You know what I'm saying? Then drugs came. And now guns are here. Not just, when I first seen the gun, it was a 38 long. You know, I thought that was the thing to be. Now you got AR-15s, military style rifles with 100-round clips. That ain't fair. Mm. And they in the neighborhood. You know, innocent people get shot. People do stuff, get shot. It's wild. It's like, you know, it's the wild, wild west around here. It done changed a whole lot. Yeah.
So I think that one of the conversations that we have in a lot of communities in America is how do we think about things like entrepreneurship and mentorship and community engagement as a way to combat some of the things that you just talked about how the community has changed with drugs and guns and violence. I'd love to hear your perspective on how important do you think entrepreneurship and good role models are?
Role models are the most important thing in life. Like when you have somebody to look up to or to talk to, and you can be 100% authentic of who you truly are, and you can talk to that person and you can just sit there and engage with them and get some of the understanding that you got. Like, you will talk to your role model more than you probably talk to your spouse. You know, because your spouse put you in a situation with they selfish nature if they want you to be who they are. But your role model gonna let you be who you are. So you're gonna feel more comfortable and tell them what it is. So like entrepreneurship, it's a fine line when you put it with the drug market, because everybody always say, go get a job. You shouldn't be doing that. But let me ask you a question. Let me ask both of you all a question. Do y'all believe, well, everybody that exists on this earth, if they went and got in line for a job, is it enough jobs for them?
Well, I will start by answering. My mom always said a job is like a disease. And I always thought jobs were the enemy because she has always owned her own business. And so for me, I always grew up to see business ownership, having investments, getting into real estate as the way to have more freedom and control over your life. It's probably why I naturally gravitate towards kind of entrepreneurship. But, you know, not everybody's cut out to have a job.
That's my question. That's the question that I
I
asked.
really don't think everybody's cut out to have a job. I do think that when you find your purpose and when you leverage your skills and your God-given talents, a job may not be the right platform for you. It may be owning a business or launching something.
Okay. So how you know when you find your purpose?
Ooh, that.
Hey,
Switch the roles.
yeah.
Switch the roles.
Hey,
ToJo's podcast
Come
host
on,
too.
I know, right now. You now got to come on your
Yeah.
podcast.
Hey.
And so, interesting thing, look, we've been having a lot of conversations. The way that we have these conversations is thinking about what's your why, what's your purpose. And I think for me, you kind of know when you know that this is what I should be doing. And it doesn't have to be the career or job. It is, what is it about this work or what is it about this experience that to me resonates? So I'll say, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say before we answer more questions, is I believe in people, purpose, and impact over everything else. And so for me, it may not be my day job, but as long as those three things are there, then I know I'm operating in my purpose. What about you? What's your why and what's your purpose?
my why and my purpose?
Yeah.
My purpose is just to be a better person every day I wake up. And my why, my 2 grandbabies.
How old are they?
1 7 and the other's 3. Yeah. So that's my why. Like, cause I've been through so much. I've been on my deathbed twice in this life. Well, they said, do you have any last words? Last words. Yeah, the priest at the hospital. I'm like, is you coming to work tomorrow? I don't mean to be disrespectful. He like, no, somebody else. Well, tell him come to my room because I ain't ready to die yet.
Yeah.
You know, and the other one, I was in a 6-day coma.
Wow.
2015, you know. And I'm bounced back by the grace of God. So that's why I'm spiritual, you know, because I understand there's a power higher than me. But like we was just talking about the purpose. I believe like when you find something that you love to do and it's not a job, that you are doing that job that allow you to do this purposely. You're doing it purposely. So that's my take on it.
Well, I want to hear more about your podcast, Bigg Dawg's Playhouse.
Now, that's interesting. Because I'm an introvert by nature.
Really?
Yes. 2013, I'm just getting freely to open up to you like that. That's why I really came over here. Because I'm getting more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'm stretching myself. So, 2013, I moved to Detroit. Trick, rapper, be with Eminem, hang out with Eminem, Kid Rock, all them, Detroit native, and Charlie Baltimore. Biggie, Charlie Baltimore, Lunch, and they was Trick was the president at BMB and Charlie was the vice president. They were like, Bigg Dawg, we're gonna get you a podcast, you're gonna sit in the backyard. I'm like, I'm not finna do no podcast. You can get me in front of no microphone. Fast forward to 2018. I see Joe at a nightclub. I walk in, he like, man, what's your name? I'm like, man, what you mean, what's my name? What's your name? Didn't recognize him. So he like, now you look like somebody I know. I'm like, who is that? He look like, you look like this dude named ToJo, but you not him. So I slid up on him and got in his ear, because the music was playing. I am ToJo. He like, I'm Joe. That's cousin. Me and him share nieces. My sister's daughter is his cousins. So he like, man, I'm like, what you doing? I run into him again at Brentwood Walmart's. He like, man, I've been doing podcasts. He like, man, you'll be interested to do a podcast. I'm like, man, I'm not doing no podcast. He like, man, would you come to Brio and have lunch with me and my partner Faith, who do the podcast with me? Like, I'm like, I go. So that Saturday I went out there and I get to tell them my life story. They like, man, you do it? I said, man, okay, I'll do it. And then I did it 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And then my uncle passed. And I'm like, man, you know what? I'm finna go and do this. And I just did it. And like, I had people like Said Entertain on there, DJ Quit. I just did a show with Spice One, DJ Cut, Charlie Chan. Mike's brown mother, Leslie, came by. And it was the most emotional thing that I've ever done, man. Like, I almost cried in that interview. Like, it was just a beautiful thing. And like, I've never wrote down the list and said, I want these people on here. The universe just blessed me with it. And that's why I'm spiritual. Go ahead, though.
Well, you know, I've seen you post on Facebook and in different places, and I'm always inspired by the things you post. And I can't wait to listen to the podcast. You know, I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, okay. You
But
need to check it out.
You know I will.
Yeah, JoCon
Where
Media.
can people find you and find the podcast?
Well, you can find the podcast on JoCon Media, JOCON Media.com, Spotify, Google, Apple, all Overcast, and you can find me on Facebook, ToJo Bigg Dawg, and on Instagram, ToJo Bigg Dawg 314. I got hacked on Instagram, so I guess I'm famous now. So
There
I had
you
to
go.
change everything up because they both ran together at first, but they don't know more. But that's what it is, though.
Well, ToJo, this has been fun. It's time.
Oh, this
For
is
the
the best
lightning
part of the
round.
show.
The best part of the show.
Yes, it's
The
the lightning
lightning.
round, and you can't be taking
I
out my
can't see that. I can't see that. I was just drawing. You got them ready.
So the rules of the lightning round are quick answers, and we'll get through it in a couple questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. The first question is, what is your superpower?
Oh, experience.
What's one thing that you do too much of?
Eat.
I think a lot of us do.
That was easy.
So what, if you could solve one problem in the world with a snap of your finger, what world problem would you solve?
It got to be too homeless and poverty.
Why?
Because it's not fair. If you can go give $1 trillion to something in the blink of a fan, nobody shouldn't be sleeping on the street and nobody should be hungry. Because we got it. We the richest country in the world.
Can I go for one?
You want to go another one? Yeah.
Okay. So what do you spend too much time doing?
It's funny. Thinking.
Too much time?
Thinking. Because, like, I'm a total thinker. I got to start executing, though. You know. Because, like I told you, I was an introvert. So, you know, just think. But now it's execution.
Time to do.
It's time to do.
Exactly.
You know, even though I do, but it's time to execute. Too much thinking and not enough execution. As of being 50 years old, like, but I'm where I'm supposed to be. I can't say that I should be, you know, that's really unfair to me, who I am. Because you learn what you learn when you learn it. And human nature always want more. We want what we want when we want it. And that's the problem that I fight every day with human nature.
Best advice you ever received?
Always be honest. No matter. You know, if it hurt other people's feelings or not, I always tell the truth.
I love it. I can't think on a better way to conclude this conversation, which is sage advice. Always tell the truth. Honesty is the best policy.
Honesty is the best policy. You know, unless you got to tell a Jackie Chan story. You know, because some people's feelings you just can't hurt because it'll hurt you. Just being human, that's all. Just being real. Hey, for real. You know, it's just some. It's just you can't do it. You know, you look them in their eye and it just be like, man, it'll hurt too much. It'll cost too much. You know, because some people can't handle the truth. You know, but I can. You know, just tell it to me, even if it hurt me. Once I think about it, that was the best situation for it. You know, and some people, because I move I over E, intelligence over emotions. And other people move emotions over intelligence. And that be the people that you can't really tell the truth to because they can't handle it.
ToJo, thank you for being on the show with us. This was an amazing conversation.
Y'all got to bring me back, man. I thought it was going to be a little
Part
long.
2.
But it's all good.
Well, I think
you.
the next part is on your show.
Let's do it.
So we'll
Let's
cross-reference.
do it. Hey.
Thank you so much for being here. I really
Man,
learned
I
a
thank
lot.
y'all. Y'all, I really don't understand. Like, for me to be sitting in front of this thing, this is the first time I've ever done this. The only person that ever interviewed me was Joe, and I've been on Trick, no Fly Zone Radio on Shade 45, but I wasn't actually the guest. Trey the Truth was the guest. I was just a special guest. I was in town that day after a concert, so I sat down and kicked it with them. You know what I'm saying? But this is the first time it's actually been me.
How does
I
it feel?
appreciate y'all. Huh?
How does it feel?
Great.
Yes.
I command the mic now.
There you go.
You're killing it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
This
thank
has
you
been
so
fun.
much. This has been great.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to Innovation City. If you like this episode, you can find more episodes at innovationcity.co or anywhere where you watch or listen to podcasts. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and we'll see you next week.
This is where it all begins, so say goodbye to all your fears, all your doubts. This is where they die. This is where we come to win, we come to fly. This is where we make our dreams